So, today we're diving into something that's been stirring up quite the debate. Project Esther, a policy initiative released by the Heritage Foundation. On the surface, it's described as a strategy to combat anti-Semitism, but some critics are saying it might have other, more political motives.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot about this, and it's fascinating how closely it mirrors another Heritage Foundation initiative, Project 2025. There are some striking similarities. They both seem to take an authoritarian approach, don't they?
Absolutely. It's almost like Project Esther takes the blueprint of Project 2025 and adapts it to target a specific social issue. Project Esther claims to fight anti-Semitism, but it's also accused of aiming to suppress pro-Palestinian activism, progressive movements, and even academic freedom.
And speaking of Project 2025, it's all about dismantling and overhauling government agencies, right? Project Esther seems to do the same thing, but with a focus on targeting social movements, especially those that are critical of Israel. I mean, labeling people as part of a Hamas support network is pretty extreme.
Yeah, and that's one of the major criticisms. It's not just about anti-Semitism anymore. It's about using this issue to attack political opposition. You have groups like Students for Justice in Palestine being caught up in this, along with high-profile progressive figures. It feels more like a political purge than an anti-Semitism strategy.
Exactly. And it doesn't help that a lot of the focus in the document is framed around defending Judeo-Christian values, which kind of leans into that Christian nationalist ideology we see in Project 2025. It's not just about Jewish safety, it's about pushing a very specific political agenda.
Right. Both projects seem to target the same ideological groups too. Progressive activists, DEI programs, campus movements. It's like a coordinated attempt to dismantle progressive infrastructure, whether that's in government or on college campuses.
Speaking of which, we're already seeing some of the goals of Project Esther being implemented, right? Like the attempts to withhold grants from universities or deport pro-Palestinian activists. It's crazy how quickly this is moving.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the social media monitoring of visa applicants. It's clear that both projects aim to use government power to systematically target opposition. It feels like they're exploiting real concerns, whether it's about government efficiency or anti-Semitism, just to push a broader, more ideological agenda.
And that's the tricky part, isn't it? Both projects are exploiting legitimate fears, but in ways that could have far-reaching consequences. Jewish groups themselves are divided on Project Esther, with some even warning that it's undermining free speech and democracy.
Definitely. It's also drawing a lot of criticism for conflating criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism, which, when you think about it, could actually criminalize protected speech. It's a dangerous, slippery slope.
Yeah, and what about the right-wing anti-Semitism that's often ignored in these conversations? Project Esther seems to be exclusively focused on left-wing critics of Israel, which makes the whole thing feel incredibly partisan.
It's a great point. And this kind of narrow focus just adds fuel to the fire, especially when the Jewish community is so diverse in its political views. So when we zoom out, it's clear that Project Esther is trying to use the fight against anti-Semitism to push a much larger ideological agenda.
And I think that's what we'll need to keep an eye on moving forward, the potential for this policy to reshape the conversation around free speech, activism, and even how we define anti-Semitism.
Definitely. The bigger question here is, how do we find a balance between combating real issues, like anti-Semitism, while protecting our freedom to criticize policies or governments? It's a complex conversation that's only going to get more heated in the years ahead.
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack here, and I think this is just the beginning of a much broader discussion. Thanks for unpacking this with me today.
My pleasure. I'm sure we'll revisit this topic as it continues to evolve. Until next time.